Bitcoin is bouncing hard and actually is starting to break a critical resistance, but right now Bitcoin is also trading in a weekend. So we're creating a CME gap, and on today's update video I will be exactly talking about this CME gap, what is happening on Bitcoin right now, the most important resistance and support levels we need to be paying attention towards on this video. So without any further ado, don't forget to slam that like button back above 800 likes. It will be highly appreciated. And with that being said, let me jump straight away in towards the content. So first of all, Bitcoin is creating a new CME gap with the CME close price sitting around 60,000 US dollars. And currently, like you can see, Bitcoin is pushing up higher already to 61.5k. And basically, for everyone who doesn't know how CME gaps work, usually Bitcoin tends to be coming back at the CME open price at the end of the weekend, because that is what happens almost every single weekend. Just like last weekend, the CME close price was sitting around 64.1k, and then exactly at the end of the weekend we still came back towards that price before ultimately having that big dump towards the downside. And also the weekend before that we of course traded above it, and then on the Monday we actually came down to fill up the CME gap. So yeah, maybe we're not going to fill it up today, but the chance is extremely likely that we're eventually going to still fill up the CME gap, which is currently getting created around $60,000. So make sure to be on very high alert on that. But also at the same time, we are creating this new compression pattern here on the 4-hourly time frame on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is creating this downward sloping resist line here on that 4-hourly chart. You can clearly see Bitcoin is trading in this downward sloping trend, getting rejected multiple times from this level, and currently is actually trying to be breaking out of this downward sloping trend. And really, once Bitcoin breaks this downtrend, I do believe that we could be starting to see a bigger reversal back towards the upside for Bitcoin. And ultimately, if I'm going to be looking at Bitcoin, where we want to be looking at is that Bitcoin is going to be taking out the previous highs. And I think that there are two very important levels of resistance we're going to be approaching right now. And that is, first of all, going to be these previous two highs in the market, which are laying around 62,000 US dollars for Bitcoin. And if we do break above that level, the next resistance is going to be this box right here, which is of course going to be this previous low in the market right here and the previous high in the market right there. So those are going to be two very important levels we need to be paying attention towards. And really, if we break above that 64,000 US dollar level, that is the point where I'm going to be calling for a bigger trend reversal. Because if we break this low right here, I don't really think that, yeah, indeed, we could be bouncing back towards the top side, but ultimately the trend could be still be bearish. And if we break above this high right here, I think we're going to be ultimately seeing a bigger trend reversal towards the upside. So it's very important to understand how the structure is currently working. It is also very important to understand how Bitcoin tends to be behaving itself over the course of a weekend. So that is why I am trying to be pointing it out in this exact video. So also here on the 4-hourly time frame, if we're looking at this downtrend, I think that we're right now breaking this critical downtrend that we have actually been creating. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be going up straight away after this, because just like I explained in this previous chart right here, we still have some very key horizontal levels we need to be breaking above of. But indeed, it's a good step forward that Bitcoin is actually starting to be breaking out. But of course, where you want to be seeing these breakouts happening is not on a weekend, because on a weekend we usually tend to get a lot of fake volume and a lot of fake outs. So yes, I am very happy and I would really love to see Bitcoin bouncing back higher, but be aware, on the weekend, Bitcoin could create a lot of fake outs. So at the same time right now, while this is happening, we also looked at this downward sloping trend line, which we saw previously around providing so much support, and currently is really the level that has been flipping into resistance and currently is actually getting retested on this exact moment of time. So Bitcoin is retesting a very critical level of previous support, which right now is slipping into resistance. And if we can break above this level right here as well, that could also mean something very great for Bitcoin. So yes, we're approaching a very important level, and if we can break above it, it's going to be meaning something positive for the market in general. Then looking at the spot Bitcoin ETF, there have not been crazy inflows or whatsoever last week, but we last week saw at least a little bit more of a positive week compared to the week before. And still in the bigger things of it all, we're ultimately seeing still loads and loads of accumulation. If we're looking at the funding rates, they remain to be negative. We're starting to see the funding rates come back ever so slightly, and of course once funding rates are negative, it basically means that the majority of the market is trading short, and that is an overall good thing in my opinion, because if the majority of the market is trading short, we're ultimately going to get a bigger short squeeze. And just like I said in many videos before, I think that ultimately Bitcoin is still going to be going to $72,000 because more than $10 billion worth of Bitcoin short liquidations are laying around that level. So it makes a lot of sense that Bitcoin is going to take out that short liquidity right there. So actually, if I'm looking at the 15-minute time frame, this is definitely a very nice candle which we are currently creating here on the market. And guys, if you want to be trading any of these moves, and I'm going to be opening up a big trade anytime soon. I explained already my strategy a little bit in my previous videos, but of course, as we're going to come closer towards my entry prices, I'm going to be sharing you guys more and more of my strategy and more in detail on how I'm exactly going to be opening up this trade. So if you want to be trading with me, you can currently claim actually a free $500 airdrop position on Bybit. And all you need to do for that, if you want to be claiming this position, is go to the link description of today's video and press on this link right here and sign up an account. You can actually also claim a deposit bonus worth up to $30,000. So if you're interested in trading, check it out in the link description of today's video, because yeah, this is a deposit bonus you definitely do not want to be missing out on. So even further in the content, Bitcoin is of course currently still hanging on that most important level of support. And we're just consolidating sideways for already like 6 or 7 days in a row right now. Bitcoin is just hanging on live support on this very important level. And I said it in multiple videos before. If we really break below this green box right here, the next target is going to be $52,000. And yes, if we are going to be starting to see that next breakdown for Bitcoin, that is where I want to be opening up my next trade. And currently, I've gotten approximately $290,000 ready to be opening up a long position with. I'm going to be doing it with 10x leverage. So that's in about $2 to $3 million worth of a Bitcoin trade I am planning to be opening up right now. So I'm going to be opening up a massive Bitcoin trade if we come down a little bit lower. We're currently still holding this very important level of support on the daily, on the 12-hour, on the 4-hour. We're still trading in a massive downtrend, and that is why I'm going to be keeping my eyes wide open on this level right here, because if we're going to be seeing a trend reversal on the 4-hourly time frame, it could potentially mean that Bitcoin is going to be bouncing a little bit higher, so we could potentially also look at some other positions we can be opening. So yeah, we'll keep you guys up to date about what I'm going to be doing next year, but Bitcoin indeed looks very interesting. Here on the weekly time frame, we're also creating that clear lower low on the RSI. Well, on the weekly chart, we're still creating a higher low. So in fact, a Bitcoin is creating a hidden bullish divergence right now on the weekly time, where you can actually also really not miss out on. And yes, ultimately where we're looking at is just this consolidation phase. It is very boring. I know it. Bitcoin has been going sideways for over 120 days right now. And we're just waiting to see that next big breakout on Bitcoin. We're just still waiting to see that next big breakout. If we're just zooming in, some people are saying, yeah, we're seeing an M-shaped pattern, and that is definitely true. But the M-shaped pattern is only going to be of worry if we do break that horizontal support on the lower side. So if we break this horizontal support, that is where we're going to be seeing a big breakdown. But as long as we're not breaking that level, there is no reason, but absolutely no reason to be actually worrying about Bitcoin at this moment of time. So this is it for me on today's update video. Bitcoin is pumping. It is happening on the weekend, so make sure to pay attention towards that. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.